parenting, emotions, kids, feelings, growing, learning, wisdom. Let's jump into all of it on the Raising Emotionally Intelligent Humans podcast. Hello, and welcome back to the Raising Emotionally Intelligent Humans podcast. I'm Heidi Lindeman, your host. I'm a single mom by choice. I'm a therapist and a lover of emotions and feelings. And I decided that I wanted to do a little series, not sure how many podcasts, maybe 9 or so, on the beginning of motherhood. So I'm going to talk about my journey to become a single mom. That's what this one is going to be about, that how I got to become a single mom by choice. How did that even happen? And then talking about pregnancies and birth and then the early postpartum days for both my kiddos and how they were similar and different. So that's going to be the series that I'm going to share in the next several episodes. All right? Okay, so we're going to go into becoming a single mom by choice. How did that happen? What was it like? And just that process of making that choice and then getting pregnant. Okay. So I'm going to start with, it's going to be a couple different stories. When I was about 12, I knew that I wanted to be a mom, for sure. I remember a moment of sitting with my mom. We were rocking on our swinging bench that was on our porch. And we were talking about kids and was talking about how I would love for her to have another kid, have a baby, and wanted to really convince her, let's do it. I'll help you. I'll help raise a baby. My mom was actually totally on board. She wanted to have 6. She only had 2. It was my dad who was like, no, we're not doing that. We are not having more children. He was good with 2. He was like, that's enough. But I remember having that conversation because I wanted inside, I just had this knowing, this desire of how much I love babies and how much I wanted to be around a baby. So I just really wanted my mom to have a baby because I knew I was too young to have a baby when I'm 12. Yeah. So that's where my motherhood journey really starts, is just this knowing from being a kid that I was always going to be a mom. I always wanted to be a mom. It was a certain thing I just knew was going to happen at some point. When I was a little bit of an older teenager, 16-ish, around there was one Thanksgiving we were sitting around the table with our family friends. We would get together with friends because our extended family didn't live near us. So we gathered with these same people every Thanksgiving. And this one particular Thanksgiving, we were talking about kids. I have no idea how we got on the topic of talking about that. But there was another, the family's friend. They had a girl and a boy as well. And then I have me and my brother. And so we were talking about being parents or getting older, getting close to graduation or something. Maybe one of them was close to graduation or something like that. And distinctly remember the conversation around how absolutely neither one of us, me or the other friend, wanted to have babies come out of us. God, no. That sounds painful and terrible and no thank you. And I, though, said, but I do want to be a mom. I'm just going to adopt them. I'm going to adopt kids. I'll just do that. I don't want them to come out of me. That's terrifying, scary. Don't want to be in pain. Why would I ever want to have a kid come out of me? So that was my teenage world. And our friend, she was in the no, I'm just not going to have kids. She now has 2. So we all kind of changed as we grew up. Our parents also told us that. They were like, oh, well, you just wait. Just wait until you're 30 or so. And here we are, both having children. Okay, so the fact that I wanted to adopt a kid is an important thing because to me was that my mind was open to a different way of becoming a parent since I've been a teenager. It wasn't important to me that the child or the baby be my biological kid because I knew that I could love a kid no matter where it came from, what its genes were. I love children. I was a nanny for a long time. I was a babysitter when I was in high school. I love kids, love them. Little kids, love them, adore them. So being open to adopting was like knew that I could make that. I would feel like that child was mine, regardless of how it came into the world. Okay, so then fast forward a little bit. Those is just some background context. I was in a relationship when I was in my mid-20s, and it was a 6-year relationship, and I was pretty convinced that he and I would end up getting married and having kids. I was like, sweet, like everything, life is on track, it's going well. There's a lot of other stuff happening too. But I was in seminary, getting my seminary degree. I was living in Chicago at this time. And had told myself for a long time before then that if I didn't have kids by the time I was 30, I was going to figure out how to adopt them. But then I was in this relationship and I was like, oh, well, we'll just have kids soon. He was very set on like, no, he's not going to have kids until he's 30. I was like, that's fine. That's whatever. But then we ended up breaking up before either one of us was 30. So then I'm sitting in Chicago one day, and I was in seminary, so I had been writing a lot of papers, and I was sitting in my computer, and I started typing an email to my pastor in Grand Junction, who I adore. And in that email, I wrote to her saying that I had decided that when I become 30, I think that was like the next, no, it was still a couple years off, because I graduated. Yeah, I was 27 or so, 26, 27, when I graduated seminary. So it was still a couple years off, but I distinctly remember being in Chicago, writing that letter after I had broken up and saying, I've decided I'm going to adopt a kid when I'm 30. It's just a few years away. And I don't know if she totally remembers what she said back, but it feels like there's this memory of, she said, like, you might want to really think about that, really consider, do you really want to do that by yourself, kind of response. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm going to do it by myself. I do not care. At that point, the need to have a child was way up high, like way, I'm using my hands if you're not watching this, like above my head. The importance was like, that's the most important thing I do in my life. I must become a mother. Being in a relationship was much lower. It's like, that's second, third, fourth on the tier of important things. It just literally in my body did not feel that important to me. I did not feel like this intense draw or desire or certainty that I needed to be in a relationship. I was like, if it happens, cool, that's great, but I don't need that. But I have to be a mom. It felt like I would be devastated if I was not able to become a mother. So I wrote that email when I was 27-ish. Okay. So then fast forward a few more years, and I turned 30. Like, what are we going to do? How are we going to make this baby happen? And at the time I was turning 30, I wasn't in the best space financially or many other things to have a child on my own. I was in school getting my graduate degree in counseling. So I was like, I don't know if I can really have a baby in the middle of a semester. That I don't think is going to work so very well. So then but I did start looking. I was looking up, how do you have a baby by yourself? What are the options? And there's many options. Of course you can adopt. I looked into adoption. I was like, I don't think that's going to happen. I didn't look very deeply into it because I was like, I don't think I have enough money to adopt. I don't really think that they're going to pick a single mom to adopt. Because I had all these assumptions in my head. That's not true. They will absolutely let a single parent adopt a child. I have not looked into the entire details of what that is like. But my mind told me they wouldn't pick me. So I didn't even really try. So like, okay, so what other ways can I have a kid? I guess I'm going to have to do this using myself. And then I looked into sperm banks because that seemed like the first logical option. And was looking at profiles of men who donated sperm. And I mean, it felt okay, but it also felt like it's kind of expensive. There's a whole lot of other stuff that comes into going through that route, which a lot of single moms by choice go that way. There's more legal protection if you go through a sperm bank. And I just was like, I don't know that I can make that happen. And it felt confusing, a little hard. It felt sad, frustrating. And then I found some other places to try to find a known donor. So like, okay, so what about this known donor thing? And a known donor, that is somebody you know, obviously they're known, who donates their sperm to you, and then they are not the father, they're just there's just a known donor. And then you can have all kinds of relationships with them based off of, so the two of you would discuss and figure out what is that relationship going to look like between the two of you, between the donor and the child. Is that person going to be in the child's life? And some single moms really want that. They want the donor to be like a good uncle or a friend, or mom's good guy friend. Maybe even knowing that that's their biological dad potentially. But there's this some kind of connection. But the donor doesn't have any legal or parental obligations, and they're not their parent. They're just their biological father. And some people go like, well, I'm not going to let the known donor know them until they're 18. Another choice. If they want to. Like it's the kid's choice. That's what I am doing. They know, both my children know that they come from a known donor. They have a picture of what he looks like. They have information on him that I asked him if I could, I got his information, some medical information, some stuff about him, so that they have some kind of connection to him. So they know, they're very aware. I'm not hiding anything from them. They know. He's just not in our life. Okay. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So I was looking up online known donors and finding these really sketchy websites. And I thought that I had found not only somebody who wanted to donate, but like maybe the person I love legit thought that. I was a little naive, but I was caught up in texting with this person. And then one day he just stopped talking to me, stopped texting to me. And I was so hurt and sad. And spent time just taking care of myself. I talked to my friends about this. I talked to the admin at Regis. She knows a whole story. And that was sad. So I was like, that I learned something in that. I learned the importance of actually meeting somebody in person and knowing them and being able to really talk to and form some trust and some knowing what their intention is. What is the intention of the person? And I started to find out that a lot of men on these random websites that I was on are there because they want to do what's called natural insemination, meaning they want to have sex. I did not want to have sex with anybody. Not at all. I had zero interest in that. So I was looking for somebody who wanted to do what's called AI, artificial insemination. And that was proving to be a bit of a challenge. And then there was this one day, I was hanging out with my friend. And she said, hey, have you heard of this app called Just a Baby? I was like, what's this? And it is an app that is like Tinder, but for finding sperm and egg donors. And it's freaking awesome. Anyway, so then I got sucked into this app, and you create your own profile and what you're looking for, and then you can swipe right or left for yes or no or whatever, just to try to find people, and then you can reach out to them and kind of contact them. And the men have to list what kinds of donation they're open to. Like, are they going to do artificial insemination? Do they want to do natural insemination? Will they ship their sperm? There's just a whole bunch of stuff like that. So I just immersed myself into that for a while. I left out a part of the story, though. Okay, so there is this app called Just a Baby, but before that happened, I totally forgot this happened. I happened to be talking to one of my male friends, and he offered to be a known donor. I was like, oh my God, that'd be kind of cool. And we didn't live super close together, so he wouldn't be right near me. I was like, oh my goodness, that'd be so cool. So we tried. And I got pregnant. And then I had a miscarriage. And there's many feelings I have around the miscarriage. But I'm going to talk about the miscarriage, the depths of that, in a different episode, because I have a lot to share about miscarriages. But I had a miscarriage. I was very sad. But then I also got to this place of like, I'm kind of glad that didn't happen because of the relationship I have with him. And then I found the Just a Baby app. And the person I found on there, I had not known before. So he's still a known donor because I found him through this app. I know who he is. But he didn't have a previous relationship with me. And for me, that settled my anxiety around how my relationship with my friend would change if he was the biological father of my children. And I thought I had thought it all through before trying with him. But then once I got pregnant and then had the miscarriage, I was like, oh, there's a lot more there that I didn't realize was there. So then I find Just a Baby. And I finally found somebody. And we decided to meet. And then we met in a Starbucks that I thought was a standalone Starbucks, but it was a Starbucks inside a Target. And I thought it was so funny when I pulled up. I was like, where's the Starbucks? And I'm like, oh, it's in Target. Huh. Okay. And I had decided that that's the place we were going to meet. It was kind of in between the two of us. So we meet there, and he was just so sweet. And I was asking him about, like, why does he want to do this? Has he done this before? How many times have he done this before? And he answered so honestly. And his intention for being a donor was because he wanted to give the gift of family to other people, because his story with his mother was a story where there was a gift given, essentially. I'm not going to tell his story. And the fact that he just wanted to give to other people, I could feel the genuineness in him and I had this sense of ease and like, oh goodness, this is it. And he was very also professional, if you want to say, he was like, no, we're going to have a contract. Like, that came up right away, to have a contract between the two of us that he wanted to get notarized. So the fact that he wanted it notarized for me was another great green flag, I guess, because he was taking that into consideration. He doesn't want to be responsible for these children, but he does want to give the gift of life and family to women who need that help. And it felt so great. Just even talking about it now, I can feel the warmth in my heart and the gratitude that I have for him, and how easy and simple he made the process, and that he was willing to be there and donate as many times as needed until I got pregnant. And it just felt relatively easy. So then there were some donations. Okay, donations are a little bit, they're a little, it's interesting how you make a baby by yourself with the donor sperm. If there was definitely some moments that felt a little awkward where, okay, slowing my brain down. Most often he would come to my house or close to my house so that he could donate and then he could leave and then I could do my part in my own bed, which felt great. But there was this one time where the circumstances just worked out that I needed to go meet him closer to where he was and ended up in a bathroom. I was in the bathroom. Like he went into the bathroom and did his thing and then came out and gave it to me. And then I went into the bathroom and did my thing. And it is so weird to be in a bathroom with a syringe and a cup of sperm and then to just put it inside you without any like sexual anything there. Very weird. Anyway, felt awkward, felt strange. Definitely walked out there and be like, nobody knows what just happened. Whoa, there's sperm inside of me. This is weird. This is just very weird. But that's what happened. And so I did get pregnant with him, from him. And then I had a miscarriage. So I've had 2 miscarriages at this point. And then I got pregnant again from him. And then I had my first. And then I knew when I was going to have a second kid that I was going to use the same person. So I reached out to him again to see if he was available. He still was. That was great. We tried. I got pregnant. And I had a miscarriage. So I've had 3 miscarriages. And then we tried again. And then I got pregnant and had my second. So I've been 3 miscarriages. I've been pregnant 5 times. And that's the story, a very odd, random story about how I became a single mother by choice. And just very weird, turny things within there. And the whole process, I think there's the undercurrent of it was that I always knew that I wanted to be a mom. And that I was going to figure out how to do that no matter what my life circumstances were. I learned through this whole process, I learned a lot more about how to trust myself and how to feel into other people and then decide what level of trust to offer that other person. And I ended through the entire process. Once I got pregnant with my first daughter and had her, a deep settling and certainty that this was the right path for me. That I had found the person that was the best person to make my kid. And I adore my children. They're some of the, I'm clearly biased, but I think they're some of the coolest kids ever. And they're both very different, but they're both very fun. And yeah, so that's what I'm left with. And that was a long time ago because my oldest is now 5. My youngest is 2.5. But that's the beginnings of having babies, of how do you become a single mom by choice. And I decided to do that because having a kid was more important to me than being in a relationship. And I said that so many times to my mom. It's more important for me to be a mother than to be in a relationship. So I put my energy into making sure I was a mom. Instead of trying to find the person to have a baby with and then go through the whole process with that. Yeah. So that's that. Next time, I'm going to talk about miscarriages and pregnancies. Pregnancy with my first. We'll see. It might just be the miscarriages, and then pregnancy will be the next one, potentially. So, I hope that was insightful or helpful or something to anybody. I know being a single mom by choice is becoming more common, but it's still not the most common thing. most common way to have children. And sometimes I just think it's helpful to hear journeys and how that happens. There's also a group called the Single Mother by Choice group that was created by, her name starts with a J, forgetting her name. But that's a group that I got a membership to, so that I was able to talk to a lot of other single moms by choice. And there's a Facebook group, Single Moms by Choice, Colorado. There's probably a bunch of different chapters based off where you are. And those were also very helpful spaces as I was thinking about it, to gather more information of like, what does this mean? What does this look like? How do you do this? How do you choose the right path? And it all came down to whatever information anybody gave to me, I just kept coming back to myself and be like, does that feel right to me? And I just kept going with what felt right. And I'm glad I did. Yeah. All right, so I will chat next time about miscarriages and that journey in my life. So as we end today, Mama, may you know that you are part of a community. You are creating a better world for yourself and for our children. And I invite you right now, Mama, just to take a deep breath. Take a deep breath in and out. One more time, in and out. Know that as you breathe in and out, you are not alone. We all breathe the same air, and we are connected. And here's the credits. The Raising Emotionally Intelligent Humans podcast was produced and created by me, Heidi Lindeman. New at podcasting, new at hosting, new at producing, doing it all and figuring it out as I go along. So thank you for joining me. And if you enjoyed this episode, please like, please subscribe, please leave a comment. That's what helps the podcast grow, reach more people, so that we can really create the community that we are wanting for our children and for ourselves. Let's keep creating emotional intelligence in this world, doing it one moment at a time, one step at a time, one feeling at a time. Mama, we've got this together.